Okay. Zok the Heilige Mishnah.
At the Mishnah?
Yep. Echad halokeach v'echad hamoicher. This is really a chazar because this whole Mishnah was already pretty much analyzed in the last two blocks. Echad halokeach v'echad hamoicher yesh le'mayna. Both lokeach and the moicher can be impacted by Eidah and have the rights of somebody who Eidah is done upon. Keshem shoyna lehedit, kach Eidah letagar. That line, the Gemara just 2 minutes ago clarified that hedit doesn't mean someone selling his own personal item, because that people demand a lot more money than its actual value. So here hedit means sedraisa, someone selling canvas. It seems like someone who sort of has like a little private business in his house, but he has the class of a merchant, and therefore there's a dinah. Kachanola tager to a real professional merchant. There is no Eina L'Tagar. The Gemara is going to explain what that means. Does that mean to benefit the Tagar, or does that mean to be more harsh with the Tagar? Mishahut Lalav, the person who loses money, who was ripped off, Yodei Al Hel Yoina, he has the upper hand, because then he has a choice. Ratza Omer Loi Tainli Mausai. He has a right to say, I want to nullify this whole deal. Just give me my money back. I'll buy it elsewhere. Or at least give me my overpayment. Okay. The Tana Rabbanan. How do we know that Eina applies equally to a seller as well as to a buyer? Because it says in the pasuk, so this means if you're a merchant selling, don't do Eina, don't take advantage of the person you're selling to. Talking to the merchant, instructing him not to take advantage of the customer. How about this? What if, to the contrary, the customer is hurting the merchant? Where do you see that that's a problem of Eina? Even if you're buying, you're not allowed to do Eina. Zok to Gemara, why would I think a lekeach should be any different than a moicher? Either party shouldn't be ma'ana the other one. Zok to Gemara v'Itzrach. L'michtav lekeach v'Itzrach l'michtav moicher. Because of Rachman and moicher, if we only knew that a moicher may not do inui, mishum de kimle bizevinte. He knows the value. He's a merchant. He knows the value of what he's selling. A purchaser of a product doesn't necessarily know its value. He's sort of trusting the merchant. Maybe a purchaser is not mitzuvin loisaynu. He doesn't even know the value of the product really. So how could he be held responsible for Eina? Because of Rachman Lakeach, and if the Torah only prohibited Lakeach from doing Eina, I would have said Mishum de Kakani. At the end of the day, at the end of a transaction, when one person buys and one person sells, who's the real beneficiary? The real beneficiary is the buyer. You know why? Because he remained with an item. The Amri Inchi Zavnos Kanis. If you buy something, at least you have something for your money. Aval Moicher, but when you're selling and now you have cash, that cash is going to go. The Avudik Kamoivit. That cash is going to be spent and you left with nothing. So the buyer is always the one who's doing better. He has something. The Amri Inchi, Savin Oiveit. If you're selling, you lost your money. Therefore, since the moicher is always at a disadvantage because he's selling, maybe the Torah did not forbid him from doing Eina. Shricho, that's why the pasuk had to specifically tell us that the prohibition of Eina applies to a seller as well as to a buyer. Rav Yehuda Omer, Ein Eina l'Tagar. A Tagar does not have Eina. Frank, I don't understand. Mishum shahu Tagar ein lo Eina. Why would Rav Yehuda hold that a Tagar shouldn't have Eina? Amar Nachman Amar Rav. We're talking about the Tagar Safsar Shanu. And what's the difference? My time on Meda Yada Zavinte Kamashavya. There's no problem of Eina. In other words, if a Tagar who's a Safsira, meaning he doesn't even take delivery of some items, he's only a broker. So it's not shot that he has something sitting in inventory and he might have forgotten what he paid for it. And because of that, he sold it for too low. This is a broker. He knows exactly what he's paying for the item. So if he's selling it for less than he should, you don't have to compensate him. You're not doing anything wrong. because he's not doing this by mistake. When he sells it for less, he's fully conscious of what he's doing and he's moichel. Why would he do something like that? Very simple. He found another opportunity that he could make a lot of money on, and he needs cash. So it's worth it for him to take a slight loss on selling this product so that he could buy the other product where he could really profit a lot. And what happened was, and that's what he did. So it was fair and square, and you don't owe him a penny. Now he changes his mind. Maybe the other deal fell through. And now he wants to be chayzer. That's why there's no din oinah for a tager. A tager has no oinah protection. What type of tager? A tager who's a safser, a broker who's fully aware of what he's doing. He cannot come and claim oinah later on because we believe that he knew what he was doing. Rabbi Ashi Amar exactly on the other opposite side of the spectrum. Ma in the tager oinah. Every other person, I know is a shtos, or the time is a shlish, but a tager we protect so much. Thank you so much.
Put away the conference.
Okay, a tager they protect so much that even a mashu we protect him because it's his business, and therefore we want to protect him. Tanya Kavasa Rab Nachman, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, tager ein lo ino pleishu bak. So the Brisa seems to say that to the contrary, a tager has no protection of Einah because he should know better. But we don't say that we rectify Einah even for a mashu. That's not the svara that we have the raya to. Okay, Gavaltik. Rashi just says Shafil Pach Muchtei Einah Chayzer in Nisana. Why? The Chayav Tluyim Bekach V'Tiknu Loi Sheyach. Since a tager, that's his business, that's his parnasa. If you're going to, if you're not going to be extra vigilant in your protection of these merchants, it's going to end up hurting them. Thank you very much. The person who was hurt because of this, I know he has the upper hand. Based on the different braysos that we learned and the different mishnayos that we learned, how will this mishnah fit in? We really had two shittas yesterday in the brayso at the bottom of Amud Beis of Rav Nosson and Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and it's probably worthwhile to quickly review them so we'll see how it fits in over here. Zokta heilige brayso over here. Tanya Kavasei de Rava. Oinah pachos mishtus nikna mekach. If it's less than a shtus, there's no recourse, and it's an instant mechila. Yeser al shtus, if it's more than a shtus, batal mekach, and we said that batal mekach, there's a limited time frame for that to occur, and that's actually kadesh yir latager. Shtus, if it's exactly a shtus, then it's kana umach sarina. Nobody has a choice about anything. So the mission that we just learned, that the nisan is yodei al yoina, it definitely does not fit in according to Reb Nosson. Because Reb Nosson never gave anybody a choice about what happens. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Yomer yad moicher al yoina. So Rabbi Yehuda does say that somebody has the upper hand, but he only says the moicher has the upper hand. He doesn't say anything about the lekeach having the upper hand if he was nisana. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Yomer yad moicher al yoina, right? So Yomer lo itein li mechi, o itein li masha anisan. Okay. So Zok Gemara, who will our Mishnah be like? Lo Reb Nosson v'lo Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Reb Nosson masnisin katani ratza, ubraisa loy katani ratza. The Mishnah that we just learned says it's up to the nisana what he wants to do. Does he want to be mevatel the mekach, or does he just want a refund of his overpayment? But Reb Nosson doesn't give him that option. And here Reb Yehuda Nasi masnisin katani lekeach. Our Mishnah is talking about the lekeach being nisana, given the choice of what to do. Braisa katani moicher. Rabbi Lazar, I know zu. This Mishnah we just learned, I don't know what to make of it. I don't know who it fits in according to. I give up. But Rabbi Amar, Reb Nosson, let's say Reb Nosson. The Tani Nami Bebraisa Ratza. And just modify the Braisa. Don't say the Braisa according to Reb Nosson, we don't give the Nisan an option. Say we do. Rabbi Amar, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Let's say it's Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi was speaking about the Moicher, and the Mishnah speaking about Lekech. Sorry?
It's anybody.
That's right. Who might desire, but must listen. come Mefarish Pervaisa. With the Mishnah addressed to Lekeach, or this Mishnah addresses the Moicher, and the Brisa addresses the Lekeach. Omer Bashi Dekanami, it makes sense to say that. Because how does our Mishnah begin? Echad halakeach v'echad hamoicher. This applies equally to a lekeach or a moicher, and then the Mishnah elaborates on mefarish lekeach. It must be that somewhere else moicher was already discussed. Shema mina sheyurei shayer lemoicher shema mina. So I just have one question. If anybody could help me, maybe the ArtScroll says, what is the siman zam zayin beis reish shimon reish shiin? Does he say what that siman stands for? What does it say? I wonder what it is. Maybe Zayin stands for Belazar, and Reish stands for Rabba, and Rav Ashi, the Shimon for Rav Ashi. I'm not sure what the Shimon is. Okay. Zak to Gemara. Itmar.
Sorry.
Oh, he does say?
Former Rav's opinions follow the Lazar.
So Zayin is for Belazar.
He is for Rabba.
Rabba, okay.
Reish is for Rava.
Rabba, Rav Ashi. Okay. It's funny. Some of these simonim, it's harder to remember with the simon than it is to remember the actual facts. Rabbi Lowy always speaks during the 4 Shabbos, not in this period of time, Shabbos, Shkolim Zohar, Parah and Chodesh. There's a whole complicated set of simonim in the Mishnah Berurah brought down when you say what. But it's just so much easier just to remember it. I remember he always goes through it, and I never understood it. Zok Gemara. So someone said, so it means I'm selling to you. You might be being ripped off, but we're not going to follow the rules of Eino. That was a condition placed into the sale. Rav Amar Yesh Lo Yalavana. Your condition doesn't help, and we're going to soon see because it's Masna Al Masha Kosavatay. If you try to make a t'nai on something that the Torah says, the Torah overrules you. Shmuel Amar Ein Lo Yalavana. It will work. Zokt Gemara. Let's say that the machlokes Rav and Shmuel is the same machlokes as a machlokes Tanaim. Lema Rav the Amar Krab Meir or Shmuel the Amar Krab Yehuda. The Tanya. Ha'Aimer Leisha. We know if a man marries a woman, he's mechuyev to give her she'er, ktsus, and aina, which is mezainis, which is clothing, and aina, which is tashmish. 2 things are monetary, and 1 thing is physical. So I will isha right mukadeshly. I don't want to provide those things mandated by the Torah. Harezin mikudeshes, the kedushin is chal, which no bottle diver meir, because it's masna masha kosav Torah. Let's say that's what Rav holds like. And that's why Rav holds you cannot make a t'nai amanasha ein lo chalai no. Nebuda Omer v'davar shebamamen t'nai kaim. So oina you can't get out of, but she'er and kisus you can get out of, because it's a davar shebamamen. Well, oina is also a davar shebamamen. So maybe Shmuel would hold like Rabbi Yehuda. Amalach Rav, no, I know the Amri Afidu Rabbi Yehuda. Even according to Rabbi Yehuda, that you can get out of she'er and kisus. Here he would agree that you cannot get out of Aino. Why? There, he's telling her outright, I'm not being mechayiv myself these 2 things. And under those circumstances, she accepted those conditions. That will say there is a mechila, and therefore he doesn't have to give it. So I don't even know if it's a masla maskar of Torah. She's moichel her rights. Here he said, I'm selling you something, the buyer doesn't realize that he's getting ripped off. Maybe he won't get ripped off. He just made a condition. Just in case I'm charging you too much, I want you to be moichel that. So,
is there a relationship between the Aina, and the cheating? Yeah.
No, Aina is Ayin Vav Nun Hey. So they're spelled differently. I also think they perform differently.
Yeah. Oh, so they're spelled differently. Okay.
I find it funny. The guys are making it now. So if he says the sharing you don't have to give her, the onion you still have to give her. I think that's the man's world. I mean, could be that was intentional. Sagt the Gemara, Shmuel Amar. Shmuel said, "Ano, even though I hold that you could say I know, but by the shirkshus and oina, you cannot make such a t'nai. Why? You know when you cannot be masla mashukos of Torah when your t'nai is in direct contravention, direct stira, contradiction to the chiyuv of the Torah. When you're making a Tanai al Manasha, and we don't know that there's not going to happen over here, so that's not in direct contravention to the Torah. That night would be chal. Amar Ravanon, Zok Ravanon, L'didi Mafresh Shalom Minei Damar Shmuel. This is how I understood what Shmuel said when Shmuel said that al Manasha ein lach alai no. It works. You know what it means? This is what Shmuel said. Totally different than what we've been learning until now. If Shmuel said that Almanas she'ein lach alayno, meaning making a t'nai that which is what we said until now. He's making a t'nai which says you cannot hold any laws of oino against me. So that works, and that's Rashi. It works the way we just explained it, because it's not in direct contravention of the Torah, because we don't know that there was oinah here. Maybe it was a legitimate priced sale. But Shmuel adds, Almanasha ain't boy oinah. If someone says, I'm selling you this, Almanas, that this is a perfectly fair sale, there's no oinah. Now, harayesh boinah. Now, even if I charge you a drop more, it's going to be bottled, because now it's like you made a t'nai in the mechira. The mechira is only going to be chal if it's a perfect sale. So Rashi she'ein boinah. That's not asking the buyer to give up his rights to Aino. To the contrary, it's actually being meticulous on the Aino. This is only a sale if it's a perfectly legitimate sale. And if it turns out he charged extra, then it automatically becomes a mekach tois. It's oish mechira. Gewaltig. Tosha doesn't like Rashi so much, because look at Tosha says. Almanas she'ein Pirush Rashi. What I'm saying is ani maftichacha. I'm promising you she'ein boyino here, right? That's how sure I am. V'yesh boyino. If there would be ino, v'ave mekachtos. So Tosha doesn't like it, and Tosha says the almanash boyino mashma almanash shelo yochel iser deloy soinu ala mekach. There shouldn't be the iser loy soinu. And that's what he meant to say. There shouldn't be an issue of loisadim. Okay, weiter. Sagt Gemara weiter. Meisvei. Fragt the Gemara Akasha. Hanoisei va'anoisein va'amon. What this means is, I sell something, I give a supplier, a distributor gives a product to a retailer to sell it on concession. On consignment. I'm sorry. On consignment. I apologize. See, yes, I need somebody who speaks English to correct me. Sell it for what you could. So it's more than, it's mamish consignment. You sell it for whatever price you can get for it. And then the tain liamois l'zman employment. And in 3 months when you sell it, then pay me based on what you got for it. I'm trusting you, I'm relying on you. Come on, how do I pay you? Right? If you're going to give me whatever you sold it for, where are you getting paid? So we make up a certain payment plan. How are you going to get paid for your work? Okay. We're going to see. We're going to see what it is. It's a percentage, but it's a fixed amount. It's not a percentage of the sale. So we'll get there in a second. So what does it say over here? If someone sold under these circumstances, and the Omer lechaveri almanash ein loch alayno, two different halachas, ein loy alavayno. There is no din ayno. You took Rashi ein loy alavayno, loy mar yoser hayushav. He can't say it was worth more. V'imochar zeh b'domim rabim, and if this guy sold it for a lot of money, Ein ze yachal loimer lo etna adam. So ein lo lavana means, Rashi says, is that the seller, no matter what he sells it for, he has to give the money to the distributor, and if he sells it for very little, the distributor can't say you ripped me off, you sold it for too little. Zaktamar Rav de Omar, according to Rav, who said, "Ano da Amri Afilu Rabbi Yehuda." So what did Rav say? Rav said it doesn't work. Doesn't work. You know why it doesn't work? Because Bishlama Rabbi Yehuda by she knows what she's accepting and she accepted it. But by no, you could never accept such a term. Why? Because you don't know if there is a no here or not. So in this case as well, when the distributor is giving it to the retailer on consignment, he has no idea what's going to be. So how could you say? How is Rav going to explain this? So the problem is, according to Rav, this never works because you don't know what you're getting into, and there's no way to explain it according to him. Because Sire of Meir and Sire of Yehuda, according to Rav, agree that there would be a no here because the person could never have accepted this condition because the person didn't even know what exactly what the price was. So Zokta Gemara, Amar Abaye, Zokta Abaye, because of this, Mechaberta, we're going to have to go back to our original suggestion that Rav Amar Krab Meir, Ushmul Amar Krab Yehuda. And therefore, Rav will say that this price of a nice b'mana is going according to Rabbi Yehuda, and I take a hold like Rabbi Meir. Because if Rav is going to explain Rabbi Yehuda as well, in this case holds that doesn't work. So who's the ton of this price? Rav Amar lo kasha. No, it's not a problem because even Rabbi Yehuda Taka would agree in the case of Aina, since he doesn't know whether there is Aina at the time, he couldn't have accepted upon himself that I'm accepting it even if there's Aina. And that's what Rav learned. But this brisa that says it does work is because it's a different case here. Kan bestam. If I stam said it doesn't work. Just like Rav said, because even according to Rabbi Yehuda, I don't know what I'm accepting. But kan b'mefarish. This price of a noise of amana is speaking b'mefarish. What does b'mefarish mean? So Rashi Shapirish loy. He told him specifically, Yodayani sheish b'ina. This is not a suffix. I am ripping you off. I am overcharging you. Vani moichelach, and I'm still selling it to you. Almanash ein lach alayno. Now, according to Rav, it would work because now the person, according to Rav, according to Rabbi Yehuda, would work because the person knows that he's being mekabel upon himself to accept this Aina. The B'ha'amor Rabbi Yehuda, the Masna Utnoi Kaim, the Dami L'Sher Ksus, because the buyer knows that they're overpaying. So Kan B'Stam, where does Rav say it doesn't work? By Stam, and the buyer doesn't know if he's getting ripped off. Kan B'Mefarish, where it's clear to the buyer that he's getting ripped off, because the seller told him, I'm charging you more than the going rate. The Tanya B'Medvar Mamorim B'Stam, Avol B'Mefarish. But if it was Mefarish, Moicher Sh'Amr L'Lekeach, Chayfet Zeh, Shani Moichelach B'Masayim, this object that I'm selling you for 200, Yoidani Boy, Sheine Shava Elamana. I know it's only worth a money. You're paying double what its real value is, but nevertheless, I'm making it now. You want to buy this? Almanash Ein Loch Alai Aina. So then, Ein Loy Alam Aina, his Tanai, in fact, does work, which is consistent with how Rav learned from Yehuda. B'chein Lakeach works both ways. B'chein Lakeach Sham L'Moicher Chayfet Zeh, Shani Lakeach Mimcha, this object that I'm buying from you, I acknowledge that even though I'm paying a mana, but I'm making a tanai that you should accept that. Beautiful. Now we're going to get into the price of a nice to understand that a little better. The Machlokes Rashi and Tosfos how to learn this, but we're going to learn this like Rashi, where it's discussing ribbis. Tosfos doesn't like that shot because if it's discussing ribbis, why are we elaborating it on in this parak Azov? Why don't we talk about it in the Zon Neshech, where the subject matter is ribbis? But Rashi learns that it's talking about ribbis. Again, you're giving a consignment to a shop to sell for you, and he's going to pay you whatever it is he gets for it. So what happened was there's two lots that I'm giving you to sell. One is shvacha merchandise, and that merchandise just liquidated for whatever you can get for it. But the other set of merchandise is top of the line stuff that's highly in demand that you're going to be able to sell easily. So really, the way what would normally be done is this highly valuable merchandise, I'm charging you $100 a piece. I know you'll be able to sell it easily for $150 a piece, right? That's the going rate. I can sell it to you for $100, and you got to pay me right now. The shvacha merchandise, there I'm going to say, listen, you'll pay me when you sell it because you don't want to lay out all the money because it's not good. It's not good product. So really, these two lots have to be separated. But the problem is, the vendors are going to say, I don't want to take your garbage and try to liquidate it. Your good stuff I'll buy. I'm not taking your garbage. So how does the distributor induce the retailer to take his garbage as well? He tells them it's simple. Instead of you paying me right on the spot upon delivery, when I give you the good stuff, I'll make you a deal. The same way, the stuff that I'm going to give you on consignment, you're only going to pay me in 3 months when you get it sold. I'll also allow you to pay me for the product that you're buying that's good product. I'll let you pay me in 3 months as well. So I'm sort of subsidizing what I would have to pay you to unload my bad schoyer with the fact that I'm giving you a free loan, free financing on the good schoyer. That's a problem of ribis. And that's why you're not allowed to do that. Ella, what you need to do is you have to sell them both be'amana, meaning he could sell it for whatever he wants. Zok Rashi. Hareza lo yachshav lo yisarav amana sayofa b'shava. Liyos loy hamtanos moy sayofa. Since I'm giving you terms on paying me for the good product that you should have really paid me for right away, I'm letting you have terms. Why? To pay you for the work that you're doing by selling my inferior stuff. And of course, you're going to pay me whatever you sell the inferior stuff for. So what is your schar? How am I paying you for that? I'm giving you a free loan. He had 2 batches of wine.
Isn't ribis on money though, not on product? Like here it's product.
Well, no, you owe me when I give you a product, you owe me the money right away, and I'm letting you hold on to my money for 3 months. Even though I didn't physically hand you dollars, but the fact is you are benefiting.
Ribis applies to commercial activity too.
Of course. No. Commercial activity is personal. Those things the corporation does not recognize. Allah. The better wine that every retailer wants because he'll be able to sell out quickly. To take it together with the bad. Oh, I'm sorry. So the good wine, anybody would want to buy the whole batch at once. The bad wine, you have to sell in the store and try to sell little by little. The seller shouldn't say, I'm going to give you the yafa for its value. Almanas that you do me a favor and sell my bad wine for whatever you can get. When you're going to sell all this wine, then which means I'm financing on your behalf the good wine. Really what I'm supposed to do is, if you're selling a product for me and you're paying me whatever you sell it for, I need to pay you a service charge. I'm not paying you the service charge. How am I paying you the service charge? By giving you free financing on the good lot. You're not allowed to do that because that's going to be ribis. Ella, Rashi says, meaning both lots I give in B'taris Hamana. Whatever they sell it for, I'm going to get because it's my product till they sell it. And then I'll pay them a fee for doing this work. They would have a fixed payment. Dovi wants to know that it's not a percentage of the sale, but we'll see soon what that fixed payment is. For every mea of value that we assess, I pay 4. So it's 4%. Or he's got to pay for everything right now, and now he's going to be responsible for the sale of both the good and the bad product. So basically, if I'm giving it to you on consignment, then it's all my product. I never sold it to you, and you're selling my product on my behalf. So there's no There's no problem of ribbis over here because it was my product till the moment it was sold. And once it was sold, whatever money came in, you give me. And I'm paying you separately for the work that you've done. The other option is, as soon as I give it, you becomes yours immediately. And you owe me money immediately. You got to pay me immediately. And then whatever you sell it for is your benefit. And if you sell it for too little, it's your loss. So you have to keep both lots in the same situation. Otherwise, one's subsidizing the other. So now, let's say it is b'amana. So how do you pay the guy? So you're not just paying him for his services; he has expenses. If he had to schlep it because he had to come to your warehouse, pick it up, and now put it on the shelves in the store, that costs money. You got to hire somebody to schlep. Schagamo, sometimes it's heavy stuff, needs to hire a truck, needs to rent a U-Haul. Schar pundik, what if it's an overnight trip for him to go pick up the stuff? There's money there too. But schar atzmai eini noita. There's no special payment for his own work. Shekvar nosan loy schare misholim, because he already paid in full. Frank Gemara, where has he paid in full? Schare misholim, where's that from? Amar Papa, bitzidruye, it's by Sidruye, which means moicher big day canvas. Sheschar kotzuv lahem litein arba lamea l'mishterech b'mchirason. So whatever its value is, 4% is what you pay. But besides the 4%, that just covers your own labor, your own work. But any other expenses that you have is compensated separately by the owner of the goods. Zok Gemara weiter. A whole new subject that we'll start. We'll just learn the mission and then we'll stop. Coins start to wear down after a while. How long can you still use this coin at its full face value? You're buying a product with it. You're buying it with $1 coin. The coin wears down. Eventually, it's worth less than $1. How much should it wear down before you're not allowed to use it anymore? Now, the answer should be simply 1/6, right? But we're going to see different shurim. Arba Isrois Isra dinner, which actually works out to 1/24. Rabbi Yehuda Arba Pidyon Pidyon dinner, which works out to 1/12. Rabbi Shimon Shemoy Pidyon Shemay Pidyon dinner, which actually works out to 1/6. So the 1/6 makes sense. The Gemara is going to ask that question when we do the Gemara tomorrow. Until when could you say I want my money back because my coin is not good? The coin you gave me is not a good coin. If it's a big city and there's banks, you can check it out right away. The farm, it's villages where you can't show it to a banker so quickly, are at Arvei buses because by then you'll know if it's good. Because if you try to buy food for Shabbos and the vendors reject it, you know you have a problem with that coin. But what if you recognize the coin? If you recognize this is the same coin, it didn't get mixed into your other coins, you recognize it. You would have to take it back even up to 12 months. The Gemara is going to explain what I mean. We just said Adav Shabbos. So how do you get this extension? Again, what the terumas are about, we'll see in the Gemara. But you're allowed to give these degraded coins for Meiser Sheni. And we're not worried. Because really a degraded coin is not a big deal. It's only nudniks, people who are nudniks, who have a nefesh ra, are going to make such a big deal about it. But normal people don't, and therefore you're allowed to use it for Meiser Sheni. Okay, we'll stop here and we'll be Mamshech Bezos tomorrow. Everybody should have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos Hagadol. We're learning very early because the Rav is saying his drasha, I believe, an hour and a half before Mincha. And then we're going to learn an hour before that. So if the item is, if that's too early for the item, we can always learn. We're going to learn about Shabbos anyway, so we'll have a choice.
Shkoyach.
Shkoyach.